What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. We've got a really exciting one today. It is the third and final installment of our shoe rotation series, and let's just say this time we're not holding back. Lakelin, why don't you tell them the rules?
Before we get into the rules, I do think that we all think this is a bit ridiculous to go to $1,000. With that being said, it's okay to have a little bit of fun. It's okay to dream big about spending a lot of money on shoes. And the rules that we came up with are the shoe rotation has to be $1,000, give or take 5%. You need to have more than 3 pairs of shoes, with none of them being duplicates. And the final one is you can pre-order, but it does have to be available in your size. Without further ado, I would like to start sharing.
One bite everyone knows the rules.
This shoe was really pretty high on our daily trainer series of where we took and made a tier list of the shoes that are coming out in 2025. One thing that I thought about this shoe is that it wasn't a max cushion shoe when I was looking at it until I went down here and I saw that the cushioning is still very high. With that being said, I think it'd be good for like some fast runs. I have some other shoes in my lineup that I think are going to be better for slower that are max cushion, but I think I'm just going to lean into the max cushion thing. And I wanted to start off with this new Adidas shoe, and I'm really excited about it. I haven't had a pair of Adidas shoes in a while, and I've heard good things about the Adios Pro 3, so wanted to try this. And I think last time Evan picked the Adios Pro 3, and so just something good. Want to try something new. Another thing that I wanted to try new is going to be the Mizuno Neo Zen. I like the way this shoe looked. It's kind of pretty simple colorway, like just white, but then it really had this cool design that just pops out. I think that the Mizuno shoes have really done a good job of differentiating themselves from Mizuno shoes of the past. I used to think of them as being, I didn't ever wear them, but I kind of thought of them as being an older person shoe. But I think that a lot of younger people have really embraced some of the cool designs that they are coming up with. And just the style of this, I really like the way the heel tab comes up and allows you to really have a lot of support in the back. I don't know if that'd be annoying over time, but it looks like something you could just slip your shoe into. And so with that, it's also another pretty maximal cushioned shoe, although the other one was high. But it should be good for an all-around shoe use that's coming in at a pretty affordable price range. The next shoe we've talked a lot about, and this is the men's Glycerin Max. This comes in at $200, which makes my total right now $500, and I think this thing looks pretty cool. I love the way it looks. We love the momentum that Brooks has been having, and with that, I'm excited to try just what I think to be one of the most stylish shoes that Brooks has ever made, in my opinion. The next shoe is one that I loved the predecessor, the Superblast. And I've been a little bit disappointed in the Superblast 2. I still think it's a phenomenal offering from ASICS. I just don't think that it feels as fast as the Superblast 1. I felt like the Superblast 1 was almost a race-like feel without having a plate. And this one I feel like is more of a max cushioned daily trainer. It's still fast, but just not as fast as the previous one felt to me. And I don't know if that's just a little bit of nostalgia or something, but or just the weather recently, and I've been having to go slower because it's colder. Superblast 2 has been probably like a B for me, and I was really hoping for another A+ to match the previous Superblast. The final shoe, if you have to, $300 left because I'm at $700. You get the most expensive race shoe that you can, even if it's in a horrible, horrible colorway. This cringy Hot Wheels, I don't know what they were thinking. It is not for me, but it's the only one in stock in my size. And I really wish it was the white and pink Alpha Fly 3. I would wait, but if we had to do it today, I'm going to go with the Hot Wheels one. And I just think there's been great things done in this shoe by pro athletes. The Alpha Fly and the Vaporfly really have led the charge in super shoes, in my opinion. And I feel that I'm a little bit behind because I haven't tried the Alpha Fly 3. And it's definitely something I'd like to get on my to-do list. Any thoughts, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty boring. Sorry, DJ, I got this. Dude, your rotation is almost identical to mine. So I have to call it boring. That I'm changing parts of mine as we speak. But I liked it. I mean, you kind of got into some of the negative elements of the Superblast too, but I think we both put it in our rotation for a reason. It, even if it's not maybe as special as the previous generation, it still definitely serves a unique kind of role in, I think, anybody's shoe rotation that's running a significant amount of mileage and has many runs in their week, maybe 10 or more miles. I think that's definitely where it kind of shines. In terms of a race shoe, that's probably the most up to personal preference. I went with the Alpha Fly 3 as well, just because of how extensive our budget is for this one. But yeah, I mean, I can't really say too much else other than I agree with a lot of your picks, and there are really only a few daily trainers that I personally swapped out.
Yeah, and just to add on, because I think Evan did a great job summing that up. He really did got that. He was right. But you know, it is with $1,000, you have a lot of wiggle room with that price, and it just shows, you know, even though $1,000 is overkill, you can really go out and get the best of the best. You know, premium foam, premium prices, and there's a lot of it with your max stacks like that. But that's the name of the game. And if you can go ahead and afford something like that to protect the legs, if that's what you're comfortable with, then you go for it.
All right, I'm going to be doing my rotation next. I originally had the same colorway as Lakelin did, but I just now actually did some quick searching, and I found that the Alpha Fly 3, I can get this much cooler colorway. At least I think it's much cooler. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I can get this much cooler colorway for about retail. It says below retail. I think that's because this colorway actually went, maybe it says retail somewhere on here. But anyway, I think this colorway actually might have retailed for a little bit higher than the 285 of most colorways. I know they just released a colorway that cost $320, I think, the all black one, which is the most I've seen for a super shoe other than the Evo Pro from Adidas. But this, I mean, not much needs to be said about this shoe. It's great, and if you have unlimited budget, as far as racers, you can't really go wrong unless you get like some bad heel rubbing or Nikes just don't work for you. But I think on average for most people, this is a pretty safe bet for anything from, I mean, really any distance, but especially like the 10K and up. Second shoe, orange to match the previous Safari colorway this time. And so, you know, it's a great shoe for everything from like moderate length, easy runs to long runs to you could use it as a recovery run shoe, whatever. I mean, again, it's kind of expensive in terms of daily trainers, but if it's bears any similarity to the durability of the one, it's going to get a lot of miles. So I'm not too concerned about the price tag for a shoe like this, given that it's going to be a workhorse. And the same applies to the Glycerin 22, which, while less expensive, is still on the pricier end, considering that it's like not a super high stack daily trainer. I think the stack, maybe it's not down here, but I mean, all things considered though, I really liked the Glycerin one. DJ and I at the recent Houston Marathon Expo were able to get these before, you can see they're on pre-order. We were able to get these before they actually ship out. So pretty early for those of you keeping track of this shoe. And we've really liked it so far. I think either this or the previous generation, if for some reason you were trying to cut costs in your $1,000 shoe rotation, you could definitely kind of go for the previous generation. I don't think you can go wrong. This one, however, does have the new foam tech, this DNA tuned that they debuted in the Glycerin Max, which, speaking of Glycerin Max, we have the Glycerin Max. Again, if you've got the money, you might as well go for the cool, expensive shoes. This is a shoe that I think is really cool. Also, just can get a ton of miles out of this one. I mean, the tread is just crazy. That outsole is never going to wear out. There's a ton of foam. This stuff doesn't seem to be going anywhere. It's heavy, so you're not going to be using it for workouts necessarily, but that's not really what it's for. And I guess come to think of it, all I really have for workouts is the Alpha Fly. Although you could do workouts in the Superblast, but maybe that's something to consider for the next $1,000 shoe rotation, is what I'm going to do workouts in. Which brings me to my final shoe, the Rebel V4. I guess I could do workouts in this if I was so inclined, but this just kind of my more recovery, lighter shoe, shorter runs, easier stuff. It's a shoe I have. It's a shoe I like. I have this colorway. So I can recommend this one. And I've seen this one in person, so I can recommend this one as well. If I got another pair, probably would go for the all white. And then I'd combine that with the all white Superblast 2. And I'd get a whole thing going. But for now, I'm going to stick with this colorway just because it's tried and true. Oh, it's not in stock. All right, then I'm going to go for the white colorway actually in stock. And just to do a real quick tally that these are all in fact in stock. This one I'm going to have to pre-order like the rest of you, 10. And then this, you can see I've already selected a men's size 10 and the price is indeed $295. So it's going to end up being a little bit more than that once you factor in the StockX fees, but it's still going to be within my 5% limit on $1,000, as I'm sure the tallied total will be up on the screen by now. Should be within $1,050. So, you guys got any feedback for me?
I like the StockX route to get a non-Hot Wheel looking shoe. I think that was very well done. It's worth the extra $10 in this hypothetical.
Yeah, I mean, you can get, I think really you can get almost any colorway on here. That's interesting. This is the all black one I was just talking about that retailed for, you can see there, I guess the last sale was right at retail. So you can get it for just a little over. I guess it was maybe scalpers spotted. I really don't think this is that good looking of a colorway. And while I'm not the hugest fan of the leopard print, my alternatives are this Volt, the blueprint, which always goes for way over retail, the purple, which I do think is cool, and then actually I think this might be my favorite colorway other than the Proto colorway.
Yeah,
probably
that one's
just 'cause
very
this
cool.
is the most similar. Which actually, I can get this one for about retail.
No changing your rotation after you've presented. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, well then we're going back to.
No, that one is the coolest in my opinion. I actually like the
I
purple
really
one
like
a
this
lot
one.
too.
Yeah, and I think this one is still in stock. Actually, originally my plan was actually to go for the Alpha Fly 3. This was kind of my hack to get around it.
In the women's
If you
colorway.
go for the women's still have the purple in stock in all sizes. So you can go for the men's 11.5 women's. There's a few left in stock and you can get this colorway for retail. So that might actually be the avenue to go down. But yeah, that's my $1,000 shoe rotation.
I think too that another shortcoming I kind of came across was the super trainer category, where I did go with the Superblast and I don't love it for workouts, but I do think it's very, you're going to do the work in them, which I think is fine if you have a pair of Alpha Fly 3s for those harder days or the work or the races. So
Yeah, and I mean, we've got $1,000 for shoe rotation, so I think it would be safe to assume we can afford to maybe refresh our Alpha Fly 3s for the race if we really need that extra edge. And this pair can just be for workouts. So it's kind of an unspoken rule of a rotation of this nature.
that you're allowed to go 1,300.
Yeah, well, it's just implied that when game time comes around, I'm not going to be running in flat Alpha Flies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very fair.
All right, I think that brings us to DJ.
That's right. I'll finish this one up. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, let's start it off. So the first shoe I went with here, a nice daily trainer. I went for the Nova Blast 5. I believe I ran in the 2 for this. The 1 gave me issues with some stability. 2 ended up being a lot better for me. And so this is a shoe I believe in. I don't know how it's as fast as it is when you want it to be, but it'll go, which, it doesn't really look like it. Maybe it does a bit more now, but back then it didn't look that fast. It looks pretty bulky when you got it on, but it'll go. So they make a great daily trainer there. So next one I had was a max stack, but for my max stacks, this is the one that I've appreciated the most because it really does kind of force me to slow down a bit, which is something I'm still working on because I can't pace very well. But go ahead and treat yourself to something nice for the legs with this one. That Zoom X slab is just so awesome. When you really 4 or 5 mile easy run, like real recovery run, this is probably my favorite shoe ever for it. I'm still trying to get along a bit with the Glycerin Max. This one right here still feels like the shoe that I would grab if I really wanted to go slow and easy. I think the Max has more range, but this one certainly is very, very comfortable. And for the record, I really had to go out of my way. These things are hard to not find on sale, but after doing a little digging, I was able to find one for $180. So if you look hard enough, you can reach that $1,000 limit. And of course, this one's $140. Next one is my Super Trainer. I went for the Endorphin Speed 4. I've used this before. This is one of my favorite shoes. I love the 3. I love the 1. I'm sure the 4 is really good as well. You can hit some faster paces with this for sure. And it'll be fun the whole time. You can still use it for a bit of daily training. You can wear it on the track. I've worn it for really long workouts as well, some long runs. This is probably my go-to shoe, and that works. So moving on to the Racer, would you be surprised to see this, the Alpha Fly 3? This is one of the most expensive options. It really helps you fill out that $1,000 limit, but this is just a fantastic shoe. Like, if you're spending this much money on a shoe rotation, you should go for the best. And this is absolutely
Switch it out for the Endorphin Elite.
I'm actually going to do this little hack that you did where we're going to pretend like I went and looked up the women's shoe and then selected the other one. But yes, the Endorphin Elite would work as well. But here, the Alpha Fly 3, I love this shoe. I love the 1. I would probably realistically reach for a Vaporfly unless I'm racing a marathon, but that's just not expensive enough. So I went for the Alpha Fly instead. And of course, that still wasn't enough to meet the budget. So I decided to throw another daily trainer in there. A little overlap in functionality, but this is not the first time we've had a shoe do that in our rotations. So this is another one if you want to rotate your daily trainers to really keep them fresh. This is a great one. It's a little lighter than the Nova Blast when I had the 2. Things could have changed by now. I'm sure they're lighter because that's what companies do nowadays. But I also love this shoe, and I wanted to put another daily trainer in here that if you want to take for something a little faster, you can absolutely do that. And that still wasn't enough to get into the $1,000 plus or minus 5% limit. And so I added recovery slides because that's how insane it is to spend $1,000 on a shoe rotation. This right here puts me towards the bottom limit of $975. And it just kind of shows, shoes are definitely expensive, right? But for $1,000, you can really go the distance with this. I think a lot of the ground you would ever want to cover is covered with these 5. So you might as well just treat yourself nice and get a nice pair of recovery slides because why the heck not? You're spending $1,000 on a shoe rotation. So that about sums it up for me. Do we have anything extra that we'd like to add on the rotation?
I liked that you put the Endorphin Speed in. I thought it was a nice plug to your favorite, as the Saucony specialist that you are. I thought it was a good homage to your tributes, or tribute to your homage. I don't know how do you say that? Not that way.
Like that.
I don't know. I don't think those are the 2 words you should use.
Okay.
I don't think the order is the problem.
I think it's.
I appreciate that you went out of your way to avoid sales. I think that really helps. I really think that helps out the viewers.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree just how insane we've mentioned it. Spending $1,000 in one spot for a shoe rotation is completely unnecessary. Like, I think I would say that our $500 rotation is what I would do in reality. Like, that is probably where I'd go. And then, of course, it adds up over time. Like Evan said, you're not going to where, if you're spending $1,000, you're not going into a race with flat alpha flies for sure. So there's certainly some wiggle room there, but, you know, it is kind of hilarious how much overlap there is with some of these shoes whenever you spend $1,000. It just kind of shows that it is a bit overkill, but you can build something really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think one point too that I would bring up is just that when you're picking your shoe rotation, sometimes it can be enticing to kind of like pick out a bunch of super shoes, and those obviously, if you were to try and spend more money, that would be an effective way because they cost so much. But if you actually think about it in terms of how many different how many variations of runs there are throughout the week, and how many times and how many miles you're actually putting into every sort of intensity on the spectrum, I think at least if you're kind of polarizing your training in the standard way, you'll find that the less exciting shoes are the ones you're actually wearing a lot more, you know, warm-ups, cool downs, recovery runs, easy runs, even, you know, maybe some components of workouts. So the flashy shoes like the Alpha Fly, I understand that they might seem underrepresented, and the Speed Trainer was probably an oversight to not include, but it was intentional that I had so many daily trainers, just because for me personally, having that variety of being able to shift through different trainers, even when the run is pretty much the same, you know, few miles at the same pace every day, just getting in the mileage, being able to switch up the shoes at least, for me helps with just being able to maintain that routine without it becoming too monotonous. So for me, that was a somewhat intentional decision, and then the Alpha Flies are just there for flair.
Yeah. I think this is the conclusion of our video. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, you don't have to spend $1,000, $300, $400, $500 for like as you get your mileage up is a perfectly reasonable thing to meet your goals. Like Evan said, take into account what's going to be the most practical use of your money, and you please don't go out of your way to spend $60 to $50 more on colorways that are not on sale. Just get the one on sale, or wait for the one you like to go on sale. If the other ones are, there's a good chance you may be able to get that one on sale too one day. So thank you guys for watching. Peace, love, positivity.